Malaysia strongly condemns attack by Zionist regime during Aidilfitri. Israeli assassin to be charged tomorrow. Good evening and Salam Aidilfitri. Thanks for joining us. I am Olivia Nicholas and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Malaysia unreservedly condemns Israel's continuous, indiscriminate and targeted attacks against Palestinians, including the recent airstrikes on the Al-Shati refugee camp in northern Gaza during the Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebration. The Foreign Ministry in a statement today denounced the barbaric and senseless acts of the Zionist regime, which clearly exhibits their disregard and culture of impunity, contradicting the principles of humanity, peace and compassion symbolized by this holy occasion. The statement read that Israel's continuous aggression would severely hamper the remaining prospects for a ceasefire and peaceful settlement of the conflict. The Foreign Ministry also called on the international community to take resolute and concrete actions to stop this atrocity and the man-made catastrophe in Gaza and to hold accountable those responsible for such war crimes and crimes against humanity. It added that the United Nations Security Council, the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court must fulfill their responsibilities. The ministry proposed that the Security Council consider establishing an international criminal tribunal to prosecute and bring to justice those responsible for such crimes. Meanwhile, Dewan Rakyat Speaker Tan Sri Johari Abdul has communicated Malaysia's request to the Egyptian government, urging them to consider opening their borders to facilitate the delivery of food and medical assistance to the Palestinian people. Tan Sri Johari conveyed the request to the Egyptian ambassador to Malaysia, Ragai Taufik Said Nasser, who was present at the open house hosted by the speaker at his official residence today. It was reported recently that approximately 60 to 70 food and medical trucks dispatched by the Malaysian government had been stranded for nearly 2 to 3 months at the Egypt-Rafah border, unable to enter Gaza. Tan Sri Johari further emphasized that the ongoing conflict between Palestine and Israel transcends religious boundaries as it encompasses broader human rights issues given the diverse religious backgrounds of the Palestinian people. The international community should urgently insist on stopping the massacre and elimination of people in Gaza. The matter was stated by Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim to Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan when they discussed various regional and international issues, including the current situation in Palestine, through a phone call last night.
We are trying also to make sure that the issues amicable resolution, which is not easy. There's so much injustice and crime and facade happening. But you can be rest assured that we are totally with you to make sure that the international community observe and stop the aggression and the colonialism and ethnic cleansing and genocide by the Israeli forces in Gaza.
The Prime Minister also said on his official Facebook today that Malaysia will continue to be committed in voicing the country's firm stance on the plight of the Palestinian people on the world stage. Apart from that, Dato Sri Anwar said Erdogan also expressed hope to intensify the relationship between the two countries, especially in the fields of trade and defense. In the phone call, the Prime Minister once again extended an invitation to the Turkish president to visit Malaysia. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussain has confirmed that the Israeli man arrested for the possession of 6 pistols and 200 rounds of ammunition at a hotel in Kuala Lumpur last month will be charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court tomorrow morning. On the 27th of March, the 36-year-old Israeli man who was detained at a hotel in Jalan Ampang is believed to have entered the country from the United Arab Emirates using a French passport on the 12th of March. During preliminary investigations, the suspect, who also holds an Israeli passport, claimed he came to Malaysia to hunt down and kill another Israeli national over a family dispute. On the 8th of April, a married couple suspected of supplying the guns to the Israeli man were charged in the Kelang Sessions Court for firearms offences.
Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim, King of Malaysia, and Raja Permaisuri Agong Raja Zarid Sofia, Queen of Malaysia, today attended the Istana Johor Aidilfitri open house held at Istana Besar, Johor Bahru today. The open house on the second day of Hari Raya Aidilfitri has drawn a large crowd, with many Johorians eager to meet and greet their majesties and other members of the royal Johor family.
The rainy weather also did not stop the public from making their way to the palace for the Hari Raya Aidilfitri celebration. Also present were the region of Johor Tunku Mahkota Ismail Sultan Ibrahim, Cepuan Mahkota Khalida, the Raja Muda Tunku Iskandar Abdul Jalil Abu Bakar Ibrahim, and Tunku Temenggung Tunku Idris Iskandar Sultan Ibrahim. Also attending the occasion were Johor Tunku Panglima Tunku Abdul Rahman Sultan Ibrahim, Johor Tunku Putera Tunku Abu Bakar Sultan Ibrahim, Tunku Tun Aminah Sultan Ibrahim, Dato Dennis Muhammad Abdullah, and Tunku Besar Zabeda Almarhum Sultan Iskandar. Johor Menteri Besar Dato' On Hafiz Ghazi and other top state leaders were also present at the open house. Yesterday, His Majesty also graced the Hari Raya Aidilfitri open house of the Menteri Besar at his official residence in Sajana.
Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim and his wife Dato Sri Dr. Wan Aziza Wan Ismail today attended the Aidilfitri open house of Dewan Rakyat Speaker Tan Sri Johari Abdul, held at his official residence in Kuala Lumpur. Dato Sri Anwar, who was wearing a yellow baju Melayu complete with sampin, arrived at 12:05 in the afternoon and was greeted by Johari. The Prime Minister and his wife spent about 40 minutes at the event to enjoy the meal and mingled with the guests present. The ceremony, which started from 12 noon to 4 p.m, was also attended by the Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Dato Dr. Muhammad Naim Mokhtar. Coming up, Sarawak airline expected to be operational in 2025. Malaysia and Pakistan have agreed to explore opportunities to strengthen ties between the two countries, especially in trade and investment. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif conveyed the matter during a phone call he received from his Pakistani counterpart last night.
During the phone conversation, both leaders wanted to explore opportunities to strengthen Malaysia-Pakistan ties, especially in the field of trade and investment. Dato Sri Anwar said he also welcomed Shehbaz's proposal to export halal meat from Pakistan to Malaysia. Also discussed were various regional and international issues, including the situation in Gaza and Afghanistan. He said Shehbaz praised Malaysia's stance on the Palestinian issue. The two leaders also expressed hope that the ties between Malaysia and Pakistan would continue to be strengthened. Shehbaz also reiterated his invitation to Dato Sri Anwar to undertake an official visit to Pakistan as soon as possible. The two leaders also exchanged Aidilfitri greetings.
The Sarawak-owned airline is expected to commence operations in 2025. Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Abang Openg stated that the process of acquiring mass wings Sdn Bhd mass wings by the Sarawak government is also expected to be finalised by the end of this year.
Speaking to reporters after his Hari Raya Aidilfitri open house at the Borneo Convention Centre, Kuching today, Tan Sri Abang Johari said the acquisition has been agreed upon in principle by the Malaysian Aviation Commission, MAVCOM, the Ministry of Transport and the Malaysia Aviation Group, MEG.
Saya rasa mungkin bulan 8 ataupun selewat-lewatnya hujung tahun selesai. Dan kita insyaAllah akan mempunyai syarikat penerbangan kita sendiri 2025. Dan modelnya saya telah umumkan, nanti saya umum modelnya.
On the 23rd of November last year, Sarawak Deputy Minister of Transport, Dato Dr. Jerib Susil, revealed that the Sarawak State Government was conducting a due diligence on Mas Wing's Sdn Bhd in preparation for the acquisition. He added that negotiations were also ongoing with MAG and Khazanah Nasional Berhad to purchase shares in Mas Wings.
Kereta Api Tanah Melayu Berhad KTMB will refund the travel fare in full to passengers who are unable to continue their journey due to the disruption of electronic train service ETS between Kamunting and Bukit Merah on the 9th of April. KTMB is in a statement today said that affected passengers can put in their claims through the email address callcenter@ktmb.com.my.
Earlier, local media reported that the railway service was disrupted for almost 4 hours on Tuesday. KTMB in an earlier statement said that the ETS was disrupted due to a power line disruption at kilometre 79.5 between Kamunting and Bukit Merah. According to the railway service, the disruption at 5:30 p.m. had caused 2 ETS train services to be delayed from the original schedule by over 2 hours. Passengers were then transferred to the relief ETS set at 9:15 p.m.
In our foreign segment, South Korea's opposition wins in landslide parliamentary elections. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP, is widely expected to retain power when the country begins electing a new parliament in 7 phases between the 19th of April and early June. The election will be the world's biggest democratic exercise with about 900 million eligible voters.
The election pits two-term strongman Modi and his regional allies against a bickering alliance of 24 opposition parties, with surveys suggesting a comfortable win for Modi's Nationalist Party. Modi and his party have been in campaign mode for months. The Prime Minister has been flying around the country almost daily, inaugurating new projects, taking part in religious events and addressing public and private meetings. In his speeches, Modi has been showcasing India's economic growth, with India becoming the fastest growing major economy in the world at present, as well as investment in infrastructure and welfare programs for the poor. However, growth has been uneven, leaving large sections of the population unhappy. Modi was born to lower middle class parents in northern Gujarat, and his journey into politics started young. He got his start in politics through a right-wing Hindu organization.
South Korea's Liberal Opposition Party scored a landslide victory in a parliamentary election held yesterday, dealing a resounding blow to President Yoon Suk-yeol and his Conservative Party. With all voters counted, data from the National Election Commission showed the Democratic Party taking 175 of the 300 seats in the new legislature.
The Democratic Party's parliamentary victory will present its leaders Lee Jae-myung a great momentum in his pursuit of the presidency. There was initially speculation the Democratic Party could snag a supermajority in the election, which would have opened the door to impeaching Yoon. However, those hopes had faded as tallies came in this morning and the opposition came up short of the 200 seats required. Lee rebounded from his 2022 presidential election loss to lead the Democratic Party with a pledge to punish Yoon through polls. He had long called for the parliamentary elections to serve as a referendum on the president, saying the vote allowed the people to decide whether the government should keep the power or be punished over its two-year governance. Yoon has suffered low ratings for months, hamstrung in implementing his pledges to cut taxes, ease business regulations and expand family support in the world's fastest aging society.
Myanmar evacuees made their way across the border to Thailand on Thursday due to fears amid fighting between rebels and the junta at their nearby border town. Some 200 Myanmar military personnel withdrew to a bridge connecting the border town of Mayawadi to Thailand on Thursday following a days-long assault in the area by anti-junta rebels.
Border crossings in the area were open for civilians who have been coming into Thailand from Myanmar in large numbers. The retreat of junta troops in Mayawadi, which is adjacent to Thailand's Mae Sot, signals the potential loss of another key border trading outpost that has direct highway access to parts of central Myanmar. Thailand's military has tightened security along the western border town adjoining Myanmar. Several Thai army vehicles equipped with roof-mounted machine guns patrolled the streets of Mae Sot, even as the sound of explosions and heavy fighting rang out from across the border. Myanmar's military, which took power in a 2021 coup after disposing an elected civilian government, has faced a series of setbacks against a loose alliance of ethnic rebel groups. The well-armed military has depleted most of its battalions to below their recommended troop level following months of relentless fighting.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said unstable geopolitical situation surrounding his country mean now is the time to be more prepared for war than ever. North Korean television networks reported him saying this on Thursday as he inspected the country's main military university.
State-run television KRT aired footage of Kim visiting the Kim Jong-il University of Military and Politics on Wednesday, named after his father who died in 2011, which state media said is the highest seat of military education in the country. Outlining the complicated international situation and the uncertain and unstable military and political situation around the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, he said that now is the time to be more thoroughly prepared for a war than ever before. North Korea has stepped up weapons development in recent years under Kim. In addition, the country has forged closer military and political ties with Russia, allegedly aiding Moscow in its war with Ukraine in return for help with strategic military projects.
German airline Lufthansa has extended the cancellation of daily flights from Frankfurt to Tehran due to security concerns until the 13th of April. The decision was taken last weekend to avoid a situation where the airline's crew had to stay overnight in Tehran.
Countries in the region and the United States have been on high alert and preparing for a possible attack by Iran in response to a suspected bombing by Israeli warplanes of the Iranian consulate in Syria on the 1st of April. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said that Israel must be punished, and it shall be, for attacking the Iranian embassy compound in Damascus. In an apparent response to Khamenei, Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz said that Israel will respond if Iran attacks Israel from its own soil. Lufthansa and its subsidiary Austrian Airplanes are the only two Western carriers flying into Tehran, which is mostly served by Turkish and Middle Eastern airlines. Austrian Airlines, which is owned by Lufthansa and flies from Vienna to Tehran 6 times a week, said it was still planning to fly on Thursday but was adjusting timings to avoid an overnight layover.
One person was killed and 5 wounded, including children, in a shooting in a residential DC neighborhood on Wednesday. Police Chief Pamela Smith said the suspects exited a vehicle and began shooting at people in the Carver-Langston neighborhood of Northeast Washington.
At approximately 6:10 p.m. tonight, our 5th District officers responded to multiple 911 calls for a shooting in the 1100 block of 21st Street Northeast. When they arrived, officers located people suffering from gunshots and immediately began rendering aid. 1 man was pronounced deceased, 2 men, 1 woman, and a 9-year-old boy was transported by EMS and DC Fire to area hospitals for treatment. Thankfully, none of them have life-threatening injuries. Shortly after this shooting occurred, a 12-year-old boy arrived at a local hospital with a gunshot wound. He was also injured in this shooting, and his injuries are non-life-threatening as well.
Smith described the incident as a development of an increase of illegal guns in the district and said police are doing everything they can to remove those guns off the streets. Washington has recently experienced a series of high-profile carjackings, robberies, and shootings, including a daylight incident in which a former Trump administration official, Mike Gill, was shot and killed in his car.
In sports, Zhia storms into Asian Championships quarterfinals. Kedah Darul Aman FC's KDAFC management plans to clarify various concerns regarding the recent challenges encountered by the club next week. Its majority owner Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Daud Bakar said this when he was asked to comment on Tuesday's media reports stating that the Malaysian Football League MFL did not rule out the possibility of only 12 teams participating in this season's Super League competition.
According to the report, the status of Kedah KDAFC remains uncertain as the club has yet to resolve salary arrears issues from the previous season. Meanwhile, a Facebook post by KDAFC yesterday announced that on Tuesday the club was informed by the International Football Federation FIFA that the player transfer ban imposed on them had been lifted, which means the club can now register new players for the 2024-2025 season. Previously, the media reported that KDAFC could not register new players for this season's Malaysian League until FIFA lifted the transfer sanctions related to claims made by its former foreign players during the 2020 and 2021 seasons regarding outstanding income tax records for those years.
Professional men's singles shuttler Lee Zhia lived up to expectations today as he brushed aside Taiwanese player Chao Tianchen to book a place in the quarterfinals of the Badminton Asia Championships BAC 2024 in Ningbo, China.
The 8th seed took 39 minutes to send his opponent packing 21-15, 21-17 during the second round of the tournament at the Ningbo Olympic Sports Center Gymnasium. Today's results mark the world number 11 player's 4th win against Chao after 9 meetings. Yesterday, the 26-year-old Zhia opened his BAC 2024 campaign in style by outplaying Priyanshu Rajawat of India 21-9, 21-13. Fans can expect a mouth-watering clash between Lee Zhia and Jonathan Christie of Indonesia in the ASEAN Championships quarterfinals on Friday. It will be their 10th meeting with the Malaysian, having a slight edge, winning all the last 5 encounters. It will be also an interesting match as both have won the All England titles before, with the Indonesia winning the recent edition while Zhia bagging it in 2021. In the 2022, Zhia defeated Jonathan in the final to lift his first Asian title.
In another match, Atletico Madrid struck twice in a dominant first half but had to survive a late fight back from Borussia Dortmund before earning a 2-1 win in the Champions League quarter-final first leg early today.
The Spaniards, looking for their first semi-final spot in 7 years, put the visitors on the back foot with a frenetic, high-pressuring game, and it paid off after 4 minutes with Dortmund keeper Gregor Kobel delaying a pass to Ian Madsen and Rodrigo de Paul intercepting it to slot in. Only 3 minutes later, Kobel pulled off a sensational one-handed save to push Axel Witzel's backheel flick over the bar, but the Germans were seriously struggling to get the ball out of their own half. Their best chance was a low show by Madsen that Atletico keeper Jan Oblak pushed wide. The Spanish side scored again courtesy of another defensive blunder as Samuel Eno, who will miss the return leg next week after being booked double their lead in the 32nd from an Antonio Griezmann assist. The introduction of Julian Brandt after the break instantly gave Dortmund more punch up front, but Leno forced another superb Kobel save before Sebastian Haller cut the deficit in the 81st minute to improve the Germans' odd going into next Tuesday's return leg.
Brazil forward Raphinha scored twice to help Barcelona secure a 3-2 win at Paris Saint-Germain in a lively Champions League quarter-final first leg.
Javi Hernandez's side dominated proceedings early on against the French side still looking for a first Champions League crown. Raphinha gave the visitors the lead with a rebound strike in the 37th minute after goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma failed to clear a cross from his box. However, PSG looked transformed after the break, with manager Luis Enrique switching things up and bringing on forward Bradley Barcola and Marco Asensio. The attacking change resulted in the equalizer in the 48th minute when Ousmane Dembele smashed the ball into the top corner. Barca was still reeling when the hosts took the lead through Vitinha, who stroked the ball in 2 minutes later from a quick counter-attack. But Raphinha defied volley in the 62nd minute from a brilliant long pass by substitute Pedri brought the match level again, silencing the home crowd. Andreas Christensen then took advantage of a static Donnarumma to jump unchallenged in the 6-yard box and head in from a corner 13 minutes from time to give the Spanish side a narrow advantage going into next week's second leg.
That concludes this edition of Malaysia Tonight. In our top story, Malaysia strongly condemns attack by Zionist regime during Aidilfitri. Till then, I'm Olivia Nicholas from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri. Thank you for watching.
Kami, Tim Raya Besut, mengucapkan Selamat Hari Raya.
Kami, keluarga Haji Hassan dari Tok Intan, mengucapkan Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri.
Keluarga Terima mengucapkan
Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri.
Kami ingin mengucapkan Selamat